Hey there. Y'all want to see some manga? I sure hope so, because if not, then this video's gonna be real boring. But anyway, so this is my manga collection video. I've been watching these manga collection videos for years because I don't know, I just find them so cathartic, They're just a lot of fun to just put on and watch and like chill out to. So I've been like, I've been watching these manga collection videos. How about how about I make my own? So here we go. Let's dive on in. Oh, this is my first video ever, by the way. So I don't know what I'm doing. If it's like kind of trash at parts, I'm sorry. I'm gonna warn you up front that the lighting is gonna be like kind of bad for this first part here because I straight up like don't have a light bulb on this half of my room and my ceiling. So it's gonna start out bad at first, but it'll get better as we get further on to the side of the room that like has lights. I know this is like super unprofessional. I'm so sorry, but here we go. We're just gonna dive in here and see what happens. All right, so here we go. Here's the beginning of the manga collection tour here. So let me pull this out a bit here. So I got these organized in a specific way, right? So basically, I have them organized by like height. So I got the little short guys over here, and starting over here, I got the taller ones, and we got like the hard covers and stuff. That's a thing, and within their little groups here, I got them organized in the order that they came out, from oldest to newest, right? So, starting off with the oldest of the short volumes here. Here's Dragon Ball, the OG Dragon Ball, not Z. I don't have Z yet. Alright, so Dragon Ball Z holds a special place in my heart because that was basically the first manga that I ever read. So the story behind that is that I was in college and this new Dragon Ball fighting game was coming out, right? It looked super cool and I was excited because I'm really into fighting games. I'm really bad at fighting games. Like I don't know how to play them at all, but I just like the vibe of them, right? So I was really excited about this new Dragon Ball fighting game. But I didn't know anything about Dragon Ball, so I went to my local library and they had excuse me, they had all of Dragon Ball Z there, but they didn't have the original. So I just read all of Z in a week before the game came out, and it was a lot of fun. Got to see Goku beat up a bunch of shirtless dudes and stuff, and it was a great time. Yeah, I really liked that. So, but yeah, so I've read all of Z, but I don't own it because, like I said, I read it from the library, so it's not really like a high priority for me to get just yet because I've already read it. Although I'm definitely gonna get it someday because it's really good. I'd like to own it, right? But I bought the original so I could read that, and I'm currently reading it right now, and it's a lot of fun. I think it's actually better than Z is so far because this is just like, I don't know. This manga's like low-key hilarious though. I was not expecting Dragon Ball to be so funny. And the characters are so fun too. It's great. If you've only read Z, check out Dragon Ball because it's a lot of fun. I wish I'd read this first, to be honest, because that sets things up a bit. I'm also reading them in these poopy like 3-in-1 editions here. These are like the New Balance shoes of Dragon Ball formats. Like nobody wants these. People either want the box sets or the Vizbigs, but I got these because this is the only way you can own Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z like in the same with the same numbering that it originally had in Japan. But I'm thinking that I might just sell these and buy like the box sets or something because these have like the worst page quality and all that kind of stuff. And the box sets come with a cool box, so who doesn't want that? Oh, here's Tropic of the Sea. This is nothing like Dragon Ball at all. I haven't read this yet, but it's by Satoshi Cone, who is awesome. he did a bunch of really good movies, and he wrote some manga. And I hear that this is like the worst thing he ever did too. Like I hear this is like kind of butt, so I haven't read it yet, but I'll read it at some point. It's only one volume. Alright, here's Slam Dunk. Now, this is a tragedy here because I own almost all of this series except for like 4 random volumes of it. Like you can see, I'm missing volume 5 right here, and some of the others because they've been out of stock for like 2 years now, and I can't get them, and it makes me very sad. But yeah, I've read the beginning of this series, and it's a lot of fun. I just wish I could read the rest, you know, like that would be nice. Oh, you're gonna see a running theme throughout this collection of that. So a lot of stuff I haven't read yet, and I'm sorry about that. That's my bad. I gotta clean up my act. I gotta read my books. Y'all should get on me in the comments for that. You should call me out. Oh, here's Rurouni Kenshin. Okay, so I got this store near me that for the longest time they would sell like used manga volumes for like $3 each, right? So I got basically all of Rurouni Kenshin from this store that has manga for like $3 each, right? I'm only missing the last volume, volume 28, and I'll get that at some point. People are trying to sell that for like $35 online, and it's a little too much, you know. I'm not trying to pay the $35 for a 30-year-old volume of Rurouni Kenshin or anything, but who knows? I might have to do that, but probably not. Yeah, so I've started this too. This is pretty good. I think I'm gonna wait till I finish Gintama before I read this, because this and Gintama kind of take place in the same time period. I don't want to like get myself confused, you know. But this is supposed to be a classic. Like people love this series. Oh, but it's tradition. It's a thing you gotta do in these manga videos, that whenever you bring up Rurouni Kenshin, you also gotta bring up the fact that the dude who wrote it is like really bad, right? And yeah, he did some bad stuff. So buy this used. I don't think I can really say what he did in these YouTube videos he got, because I don't know, this is my first video, I don't know anything, but there's certain things that you can't say on YouTube, right? And some of the things he did are some of those things, right? So I'll just say, you could look it up. He did a couple no-nos. He did a few spaghettios, and yeah, we don't stand that kind of stuff. We don't like that. So yeah, buy that used if you get it. All right, here's Trigun. Alright, so Trigun Maximum here. I got all of these Trigun Maximums for $3 at that same used bookstore. But it's missing the last 4 volumes, 5 volumes. I don't remember how many more volumes there are. But anyway, the volumes I'm missing are like super expensive. I was looking for those on eBay, and yeah, I'm not gonna be able to afford those, right? So I can't get that. And then these first 2 Triguns here. This is the whole series of the original Trigun. It's just in these 2 volumes, and I found these because I was visiting my wife's grandparents in another state far away, and this state I realized had half-price books, and we don't have those where I'm from. So I'm like, oh, I'll check out half-price books, see what they got. And y'all, let me tell you, half-price books is awful. Like, it's just a terrible place, because I walk in there and they got these old manga volumes. They got these Trigun Maximum omnibuses. They're selling them for $100 each. And I'm like, whoa, like, I'm pretty sure these Trigun volumes did not retail for $200, so I don't know what kind of half-price book that is. No, I just thought that was really scummy and bad. But yeah, they also had these first two Trigun volumes here. These were $20 each, which, like, that's honestly like a decent deal for those volumes. It's not like a deal that's so good that I was like grinning from ear to ear while I walked up to the counter to pay for them or anything, but that's about kind of what you have to pay. So I begrudgingly gave in and paid more than retail at half price books. So that's how I got those. If anyone knows where I can find the rest of these Trigun Maximum volumes for like not $100, that would be cool. But I don't think there is a place you could find them for less than that. So it is what it is. Oh, and I haven't read that either. I'm sorry. But GTO, as you can see, I am reading. I'm making my way through that. And GTO is very fun. It's like bad motorcycle dude becomes a high school teacher, and he's very lovable, and it's a fun time. It's a fun time. It's a little sus at parts, but so some parts of this are a little suspect, but you know, if you could look past that, it's a good story. This is another one where it's just incredibly out of print, and it's a 25 volume series, right? And I only got these first 10 volumes because I found them for $3 at that used bookstore I go to. But the last 15 volumes of this, woo, gonna have to sell my kidneys in order to afford those. So I'm just like reading through these as slowly as possible, in some vain hope that the rest will be reprinted somehow by the time I finish, which won't happen. But oh well, I can dream, can I? Well, here's One Piece. I got a lot of that. Oh, this is a bad angle. What am I doing? Okay, so I got 90 volumes. I got the 4 box sets that they came out with. And currently, I haven't read all of these yet. I am up to volume 50, which is right, it's so dark, you can't even see that, but you know where it is. Last arc I read was Thriller Bark, which was kind of lame, so I think that deterred me from One Piece for a bit, but it's good for sure. I'm excited because I hear that the stuff coming up is really solid. Well, if you don't know what One Piece is, it's like pirates and stuff. That's what One Piece is about, but it's really long and great and a lot of fun. So if you've it's like the final boss of manga, kind of. If you feel like you've read enough manga to take on this beast of a series here, then it's your civic duty as a manga reader to check One Piece out. All right, here we go. Oh yeah, I got some random volumes of Hunter x Hunter. I got the beginning and the end of it. Now, Hunter x Hunter is pretty cool. I've read this whole series before. I just don't own all of it. But, yeah, this is like the sophisticated man's shonen manga. This is the shonen that you read while you, like, swivel your wine glass and talk about Finnegan's Wake. Like, this is that kind of thing, yeah. But no, it's not really that sophisticated. The fan base wants you to think it is, but it's just a good series. It's also never going to finish, so that's kind of lame. But it ended. It's wrapped up enough stuff that I'm satisfied with it. But yeah, it's really good. Check it out. Speaking of really good, here's Bleach. Now, Bleach is actually super awesome, and I slept on it for way too long, right? Because I got into manga when I was in college, and so I wasn't super into shonen anyway, and especially not Bleach, because everyone talked about Bleach like it was just pure garbage or something. Like, this was one of the most disrespected shonen of all time. So I had no interest in this for years, and one day I just had like this feeling, and I was like, you know what? I want to read Bleach. So I just like drove on over to the bookstore and picked up the first volume of Bleach, and it was awesome. I really liked it. It's I think that in particular the second arc of the series, or the first like big arc of the series, the Soul Society arc, is probably the best shonen arc ever, to me at least. Because it's just so hype all the way through. There's a mystery going on. Every single guy that Ichigo fights is just like you care about every fight, which is hard to do in a series like that. And woo, just like the fight scenes themselves are crazy. The powers that everyone has. This is just. It's just so fast paced and wild, and I love this series. I will say it gets kind of bad in the last 20 volumes here. Not a big fan of the last 20 volumes, but the rest of it's really great. So I love Bleach, and it's kind of annoying because the series is 74 volumes long. And as you can see, I was able to fit all of them down there except for the last volume. So I got this random Bleach volume just by itself up here. That's kind of rough, but it is what it is. Alright, so after Bleach, we got School Rumble here. So this is something that, you're going to see a trend for these next 3 shelves I got. And that a lot of these are like mid-2000s series that you can get for super cheap. A lot of them, not some of them, but a lot of them you can get for really cheap. And that's how I got them. I was just at a bookstore and I was like, ooh, these are $2 a volume. I'm gonna pick some of these up. And so I have not read most of these, unfortunately. And they're gonna be lower down on my priority list because I just kind of got them because they were cheap. They aren't like things I'm super looking forward to, but I will read them eventually. I can promise you that. So anyway, first up we got School Rumble, which, like I said, I got this because they're like $2 a volume, and I don't really know much about it, honestly. It just so there's 2 kinds of school manga for me. There's like fun school manga and like weird cringy school manga, and this looks like it could be a fun series for me. What is this? Is like high schoolers beating each other up and having quirky shenanigans or something? That sounds kind of cool. Like maybe I'd be into that. So yeah, I'll check that out at some point. Oh, and this isn't the whole series. This is just the first 5 volumes. Alright, next up is Airgear. Speaking of series that are not cheap, Airgear is the poster child of not cheap manga series because it's super long and all the volumes are out of print, so that's fun. I got all of these for $3 at that used manga store, and this is not all the volumes. I'm missing a lot of them. It goes up to like volume 30. It goes up to like the late 30s or early 40s, I think. So there's still a lot more I need. And yeah, I just picked these up because I saw them for like $3 each. And this always seemed like a series that looked interesting to me. I like how colorful it all is. Look at that. And I like the kind of like Sonic Heroes World 2 vibe it has. was a terrible comparison. What am I doing? It has like a futuristic, but in an early 2000s kind of way feel that I like a lot. And I read part of the first volume, and I think this is a series that is I'm either going to really like it or think it's really stupid. I can't quite tell from the first volume yet, but I'll read more of it soon. Like I said, you know, I'm probably never gonna own this whole series because, like, you gotta, in order to get Airgear, you gotta like have a child and then sell your child to Airgear. That is the sacrifice that Airgear requires. Gotta sell my firstborn son in order to afford this series. So I'm not gonna do that, but I'll read the volumes I have at some point. Alright, next up we got Neon Genesis Evangelion Angelic Days. Now this is a spin-off of the main Evangelion series, and my thing is Neon Genesis Evangelion is my favorite anime of all time. I go way back with that series. I don't know, I don't want to sound corny or anything, but I guess it means a lot to me, or whatever. I don't know, that's means a lot to me, yuck. But I like it a lot. It's my favorite. Oh, it's tied with Gintama for my favorite anime. But anyway, this is one of the spin-offs. There's a whole lot of random manga Evangelion spin-offs. You got the one with like, there's one with like zombies. There's one where everyone's a detective and they're solving mysteries. There's all kinds of crazy stuff. But this one is basically it reimagines the story, but it takes all the sci-fi stuff out, and it's just like a straightforward like a romance, from what I understand. So that's, and I hear this one's actually pretty good. Like this is the one that people say is good out of all the spin-offs. So I want to read this. Why haven't I read this already? What am I doing? I bought this a while ago too. I read part of some of the other stupid Evangelion spin-offs that weren't good, and I haven't read the good one yet. So I don't know what's wrong with me. All right, here's Reborn. Okay, so this series is a tragedy because it's like 40 some volumes in Japan, but they only released 16 over here and then canceled it. So yeah, that's why do bad things happen to good people, you know? What's up with that? But Reborn, I haven't read any of this either yet. I'm sorry. I'm actually really looking forward to this one because I've had my eye on it for a while because from what I understand, the series starts out as kind of like a comedy gag manga kind of thing, and it turns into like an action series. And I'm a big fan of series that start out one way and then turn into something just completely different. Like that's always super interesting to me. So I want to check this out, but I think the fact that it's like 40 some volumes is putting me off until later. Like I want to read some of the shorter stuff first. But this series also, since it got canceled, it's not being reprinted anymore. So these volumes normally are super expensive, but I got lucky and found almost all of them for $3 at that used bookstore, right? So, all right, next up is D. Gray Man. I got these first 3 volumes for $3 from that one used bookstore, and I haven't checked them out yet. This one's on the Shonen Jump app, so I think I'll just read these first 3 and then read the rest on the app probably, because that's kind of how I do things with most of the Shonen Jump series. I just read them on the app so I can save money. Because, if you don't have the Shonen Jump app, it's $2 a month, and there's like a billion different manga on there. It's pretty good. It's actually a good deal. So, yeah, that's what I do. I really only buy the ones I really like Bleach and One Piece and Dragon Ball and stuff, because like those are ones I know I'm gonna want to reread again. But who knows? Maybe I'll read D. Gray Man and it'll be great, and I'll buy the whole series. Who knows? I don't know much about it either. I'm sorry. It looks like my kind of vibe though. It has kind of an edgy boy vibe, which I'm into that kind of stuff, to be honest. All right, Higurashi. Now, Higurashi is one of my favorite anime of all time. Right? It's like a psychological horror type of deal. If you're into that kind of thing, then go check out Higurashi because it's the bomb. It's great. So you might be wondering, like, hey, if that's your favorite or one of your favorite anime of all time, why do you only got 3 volumes here, not like the whole series? And well, let me tell you. Let me tell you why I only have 3 volumes of Higurashi. And it's because this series is super out of print, and volumes of it regularly go for like over $100 online, which is crazy. And the series has 38 volumes. So this is like one of the most impossible series to get of all time. And yeah, that's why I don't have it. The same with Higurashi kind of has like a spiritual successor called Umineko. And Umineko is even worse because there's like a million volumes of that too, and they're even more expensive. So yeah, I want to own both of these, but it's not looking too positive on that front. Here's the thing though. If those series ever get reprinted, I'm like snatching them up the day that they announce the reprint. I'm buying the whole series, all 70 whatever total volumes. I'm doing it, like, because that's how much I want this series, right? I don't say that about any other series, but for Higurashi and Umineko, I do that. I do that. All right, Voices of a Distant Star. This is a 1 volume deal about like romance and space. I haven't read it yet. I've heard it was good from some people. I've heard it was bad from other people. So we'll see how I feel. Oh, here's Eureka 7. This is another one that I got because these volumes were like super duper cheap. And yeah, I haven't seen the Eureka 7 anime yet. It's like a mech thing. And I'm into mech stuff, and this one has a good vibe. I like the art style a lot. So I haven't read this yet either. I will probably whenever I watch the anime. I want to say when it comes to, because this is one of those ones where the anime came first and not the manga, so I like to watch them in the order that they came out. And this is the only Bandai manga release I have, and as you can tell, their quality control is legendarily bad. Like if you look at this, Volume 2 doesn't even say Volume 2 on the side. Like, all the all the others have the volume numbers, and Volume 2 just has nothing. It's great. Look at that. There's a reason they don't make manga anymore. Okay, Crimson Shell. This is like I read part of this, and then it wasn't bad or anything. It was good, but this is a 1 volume deal. I think this is either a prequel or like a spiritual prequel to Pandora Hearts. It's by the same person. So it has a very Pandora Heartsy look to it. Oh, Nichijou. This is the whole series of Nichijou that's out so far. I think it's technically still going, but kind of on the hiatus or whatever. But we'll probably get some more stuff at some point. And, yeah, so I bought these because they were all $3. And I read the first volume and I did not like it. I did not think it was very funny, but... And this is a comedy manga, so... When you don't think it's funny, that's like a death sentence, right? That's not good. But, I don't know. I bought them all. I'm gonna read them all. And I'll report back to you if my opinion changes. Black Gate. This is like a total impulse buy for me. Never really heard of anyone else talk about this, but the description sounded cool. It's like monsters from another world showing up and people fighting them or something, and it's the whole series in this one 3-in-1 deal here. So Yeah, I'll read this at some point. Yeah, I told you guys I haven't read most of these. It's a shame. Oh, here's Bakuman. This is the whole series. I got the box set here. And yeah, this is by the dudes who did Death Note, and this is a series about making manga. I want to read this, but I hear that it spoils the ending of Ashita no Joe, which I also want to read. So I'm trying to read that first before I read this. But Ashita no Joe is like super boring where I'm at right now. It is. I'm sure it gets better, but I'm like struggling to push myself through that. But I want to finish it because it's like a legendary series. So the Ashita no Joe is holding me back from reading this, but I'll finish it someday. I'll get there. All right, next up is One Punch Man. Now, if you're really paying attention to the whole chronological release order thing I got going on, you'll realize that I have One Punch Man in the wrong spot, because the One Punch Man manga didn't come out until after the Mob Psycho manga. But the web comic came out before Mob Psycho. And here's the thing, right? So I decided that I was just gonna put the One Punch Man manga like in the spot that the web comic would be if physical copies of that were a thing, because it just felt super weird to me to have One Punch Man after Mob Psycho. Like it didn't seem right. I don't know. But anyway, I doubt anybody cared about that, but if you wanted to know, that's why it's here. Yeah, One Punch Man's a lot of fun. My friend gave me most of these volumes. So I bought the two random ones at the end, 11 and 16, and this variant of volume 1. I got those for $3 at that bookstore. But then my friend gave me the rest, and I really appreciated that. And because before that I was just reading these on the Shonen Jump app. And yeah, this series is a lot of fun. Everyone knows about it. It's the dude who can beat things in one punch and has an existential crisis about that. But yeah, I actually tried to watch the anime first and didn't really like it. But then when I read the manga, I really liked it. I don't know if anyone else has felt that way about this too, because most people say the anime is better, but I don't know. I like the manga a lot more. So here we go. Here's Mob Psycho 100. I've seen the anime of this, but I haven't read the manga. And I'm picking up the manga slowly but surely as Dark Horse releases it very slowly but surely, you know. And it's a really good anime. I'm sure the manga is really good too. It's by the One Punch Man dude. It's a lot of fun. Oh, here's the first 3 volumes of Spirit Circle. I don't really know what this is about. This is by the dude who did Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer. I think it's a dude, right? If it's not a dude, I'm sorry. You can correct me in the comments. But yeah, Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer was fun. It's a very quirky vibe. This looks pretty quirky too, but the last 3 volumes seem to be out of print and hard to find. So, oh well, that's how it is. I'll read these 3. These 3 I'm looking forward to. People say this is a really great series. Oh, here's Ajin. This is, I don't know why I haven't read this yet. I've read the first volume. It was a lot of fun. It has kind of a I guess the comparison most people make is Tokyo Ghoul, where a dude finds out he's a monster-esque creature, and he's kind of opened up to this new world of not being human anymore, and he has to come to terms with that and stuff. And yeah, it seems really good. And look at these spines, though. Look how nice those spines look. They're all colorful and stuff. Oh, Rah, 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 rah. That's what's next here. I haven't read this either. I'm sorry, guys. Oh my goodness. But here we go. We got one I've read coming up soon. So, yeah, da-ra-ra-ra-ra. Da-ra-ra-ra. Da-ra-ra-ra. Okay. This is like the successor to Bacano, which I've seen some of and really liked the anime for. So I saw these for really cheap at used bookstores and picked them up because I was like, oh, it's by the person who did Bacano. This is probably good too. But I haven't read these. I will after I finish Bacano, whenever that is. Use a silent voice. Now this is... Okay, now we're entering into the territory of some of my favorite manga ever, because this is like certainly in the top 5 manga I've ever read, for sure. And it's, if you don't know what it's about this boy who in elementary school bullies this deaf girl, and then when he grows up, he realizes that was really bad and tries to make it up to her, and it's like this is basically like the best redemption story in manga, I feel. And this is just, this is probably the saddest series ever, too. Yeah, this will mess you up emotionally. This is, if you wanna like feel bad and then feel good at the end, this is the series for you. This is it, and it's really great. The movie that they made based off of it is super great too. I watched that first and then read the manga, and it was great both times. So yeah, the series is awesome. I've never heard anyone be like, "Yeah, silent voice, that was just okay." You know, I've never seen anyone do that. Everyone loves this. This is a really good series. My Hero Academia. I got these first 4 volumes for super cheap at that bookstore where I get those $3 mangas, and yeah, I haven't read this yet. I'm waiting for it to end. I hear it's ending soon, so I'll give it a shot then. I'll read these first 4 volumes and read the rest on the Shonen Jump app. After the Rain. Okay, so when I was first getting into manga, I was watching, like, I did what everyone does, where I went on YouTube and I typed in best manga and then watched people's videos of their favorite manga. And one of them was this ProZD video where he was talking about his favorite series, and he mentioned this one. And this is not something that I feel like I'd ever be into otherwise. It's like an age gap romance thing where this young girl wants to date this old guy or something, which is, I don't know, like if someone was telling me like, yo, read this age gap romance, it's great, I'd be like, no, sorry, that's not my thing. But ProZD just has like a way with words. He's like a word maestro. And I was just listening to this man describe this series, and I was like, ooh, that sounds kind of good. Ooh. And so I picked it up because I saw it at that used bookstore where I get all my manga. And they're all super cheap, yeah. So I picked it up, and I was like, I just like fell under ProZD's spell of enchantment with his way with words, you know. So now I own this series. I don't know if it'll be good or not. I don't know if it'll be my thing, but I'll give it a read. This is probably the most unlike me thing I own, but yeah, I'll check it out. Oh, here's Kaguya-sama, Love is War. This sounded kind of fun, because it's like a romance, but it's also kind of like a Death Note style mind game romance thing. So I got the first 3 volumes of this. I read the first one, and it was good. I liked it, but I guess I'm worried that this series is going to get stale, because the first volume was just kind of them being like, Oh, she's finally gonna ask me out. Oh no, my plan was thwarted. Oh, he's finally gonna ask me out. Oh no, my plan was thwarted. And it was fun, but I'm like, if it does that for 30 volumes, that's gonna get old real quick. So, if you've read this whole series, let me know in the comments if it gets stale or not. Like, here's Getter Robo De-Evolution. I think this is 5 volumes, and I got 3 random volumes of it. So, yeah, let me move over here. Okay. Yeah, I was getting into the old Getter Robos. This is the only Getter Robo series released in English. And Getter Robo's kind of wild. It's kind of a crazy, like, dark mecha series. The old one is, at least. I haven't read this one yet. I'm trying to finish all the old stuff before I get to this one. But this is like a remake of the original, because the original came out in the 70s. So, and I haven't really heard anything about this. This is not there was no hype behind Getter Robo De-Evolution, so we'll see how that goes. Here's some random volumes of Blood on the Tracks I picked up. I got these for $3 from that manga store. I haven't read this yet. I've read almost everything else Shuzo Oshimi has written, though, because he is... Right now, he's my favorite manga creator. I feel like I can't really say with any certainty who my favorite mangaka are right now, because there aren't many series that... there aren't many creators who have read multiple works from, because reading manga takes a really long time, guys. It's gonna be a couple decades before I think I could really pin down, like, oh yeah, this guy's my favorite, for sure. But right now, Shuzo Oshimi is probably my favorite. I've read almost everything he's written, except I'm putting this one off because it's not finished yet, and it sounds like it's close to finishing, so I'll read it when it finishes. Alright, here's Chainsaw Man. This is legit another one of my top 5 favorite series, probably. This is just... So there's going to be 11 volumes total. There's only 9 out right now. I've been buying these the day they've come out for every volume. Because I remember back before this came out in English, like people were talking about it, but it wasn't anywhere near as hyped as it is now. Like, people were talking about it in the same way people were talking about, like, Oshinoko and Boys Abyss right now, you know, like, people know what those series are, but they are, like, on the same level as, like, Demon Slayer, like Chainsaw Man is right now, kind of. So I remember back before this came out in English, I was like, oh, I've heard good things about this. I'll pick up the first volume. And I read the first volume, and it was wild, and I just, like... I was planning on buying them as they came out, but once volume, like, 2 came out, I was like, yeah, I just gotta read the rest of this on the Shonen Jump app, and I did, and it was, this is really great. I love this, because this is a shonen series that knows when to end, and it has, like actual stakes, and it has a lot more depth than you'd think a series called Chainsaw Man would. It's basically about free will versus determinism, and it's a really cool exploration of that, I guess. It's just really fun. It's just every character in this is so fun. I like this series a lot. I'm glad it is getting the recognition it deserves, for sure. It's a really great series. Oh, here's like the official guidebook to Berserk. I got that over here because it's about the same height as these other series. We'll talk about Berserk some more later on. Alright, here's a bunch of... Okay, so at this point they stopped being chronological, and these are just ones that I got. Like 1 or 2 volumes from a series, just some random volumes. We got Toriko, Assassination Classroom. Oh, Tagami Baki's out of order over here. Yuck. What is that? Requiem of the Rose King. Eden, It's an Endless World, Volume 14. So, hold up. I'll talk about this one real quick. I've actually read this whole series, and it's really good. It's probably the most dense, complex manga I've ever read. I mean, it's not anything too crazy. It's not like Ulysses by James Joyce levels of complicated or anything. But by manga standards, it's pretty complex. So, if you're looking for just a really sprawling sci-fi story that's super dark in parts, like, this is for you. I only own this one volume because it's super out of print. I just so happened to find this one out in the wild for $3. But yeah, this is this is a legendarily out of print expensive manga. So if you see any copies of this out in the wild, pick them up, because you'll probably never see them again. This is Drifters, Blood Blockade, Battlefront, Angelic Layer. This is actually the whole series of Angelic Layer. I should move this back to where it belongs. I Am a Hero. I've read these 2 volumes. These 2 volumes are really good because, okay, so this is a zombie manga, but I like what it does because it does this thing where the zombie stuff doesn't happen until a good bit into the series, and the beginning is just like the main dude living his sad life and his interpersonal drama about how he like hates his job and thinks his girlfriend has eyes for someone else, and I'm like, and then when the zombie stuff happens, I'm like, oh, I was invested in all that interpersonal drama. Like, I don't want zombies to show up. But it's good. I read up until about the middle of this series, and then it kind of lost interest for me. It yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, but I kind of lost interest, but I think I'll try to go back and read the rest someday. Oh, Fooly Cooly, the manga. Kyuko-chan, Akame ga Kill, Defrag I haven't read yet, but it looks kind of interesting. I got the Voynich Hotel. Alright, now we're moving on to the taller Viz-Sig looking series here. Alright, now we're on to the tall manga. This is the first 3 volumes of Blackjack here by Osamu Tezuka. Yeah, I found these for cheap at that store with the $3 manga, so I scooped them up. Yeah, this is old. It's about a doctor. I haven't read it yet. I'm sorry. Are you surprised that I haven't read something in my collection yet? That's I bet yeah, I bet that's driving you crazy, but that's okay. I haven't read this one. I also haven't read Blade of the Immortal, which is the one thing in my collection that I think I need to read the most. Like, this is the biggest gap in my manga knowledge here. And yeah, this looks really good. Normally I don't scoop up entire series like this if I haven't read them, but with Blade of the Immortal, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like it, and these omnibuses were going out of print, so I knew I had to get them all. Like, yeah, and yeah, this is like I read the first few pages and it seemed really cool, so that was enough to convince me to pick up the whole series. But yeah, I really gotta get on this. Here we go. Here's Seraphim 266613336 Wings. Another Satoshi Cone manga. Well, these Satoshi Cone ones, I kind of pick them up not because I'm really interested in the manga themselves, but just because I really like his other work, and I'm like, oh, a manga by Satoshi Cone, that's cool. I want that. I've heard from most people that this manga isn't very good, but I know one person who likes it, so yeah, I'll read it. So here we go. Here's a series I've read. Here's my Evangelion Funko Pops. Also, I'm not a big Funko Pop person, but for stuff I really like Evangelion, I'll pick up a couple. You know, just to have it. All right, here's Monster. Monster is a banger. I read this originally in the singles that my local library had like 4 years ago. And yeah, the series is a bomb. I think this has the single greatest premise in all of manga, which is that this doctor essentially saves this boy's life, and then like 20 years later the boy grows up and becomes a serial killer, and so the doctor like feels awful, and he's like, okay, I am going to kill this serial killer myself, since I'm the reason he's even alive in the first place. I have to go hunt him down and take him out. And this has the one of the greatest villains in all of manga is that serial killer I was talking about. And this is just a really suspenseful, edge of your seat series, and it's super duper good. It's by Naoki Urasawa, who he can't do no wrong, you know. I haven't caught him slipping yet. So, all right, here's Neon Genesis Evangelion. So this is the manga version of my favorite anime, and so I think when it comes to this series, people wonder like, oh, which is better, the manga or the anime? And Evangelion's one where the anime came first, so the anime is the one that people mostly know. So I think like I think I'd recommend watching the anime first just to get the original experience of the series. But as for which one's better, I think that the manga is better in a lot of ways. It takes out some of the more repetitive parts of the anime and replaces them with character development and stuff, so that's really nice. But the one thing I don't like about the manga is that they completely changed the ending, which the end of Evangelion movie has like one of my favorite endings ever, and they changed it to something that's not as good at all in the manga, in my opinion. And I didn't like that, so I think that, I don't know, if you really like manga more than anime, I think you'd be fine reading this version first, and then watching the anime if you liked this. I think that's fine. I think this is a great way to start. Oh, the series is basically about so there's giant aliens attacking Earth, and these kids have to pilot these mechs to kill the aliens, but it goes a bit introspective. It delves into the psychological aspects of, you know, okay, if kids really are piloting giant robots to kill aliens every day, like, that's gonna mess them up psychologically, and let's take a look at what that's all about. So it's a really interesting series. It's one I'm still thinking about all these years after I've seen and read it, and that's why it's my favorite anime of all time. I can't say it's my favorite manga of all time just because they messed up the ending here for this version, but it is still one of my favorite manga for sure. I really like it. Alright, here's Opus by Satoshi Cone. I've read this one actually. And I know 3 series in a row that I've actually read. That's wild. It's wild. But yeah, this is Satoshi Kon's most famous manga, probably. He's most famous for his anime movies, like Perfect Blue. Perfect Blue is like one of the best movies of all time. If you haven't seen that and you can handle really dark stuff, go check it out. But yeah, Opus is his most famous manga, and it gets all meta on you. It does this thing where it's about an author, a manga author, who's trying to kill off a character in his story, and the character doesn't like that and fights back against the author, and it's really cool. People will say that this wasn't finished, that he wasn't able to finish it before he died, but when I read this, like, it is finished. They have the last chapter in here that resolves everything and wraps it up. It's just that he didn't really finish, like, inking the final chapter. Like, the sketches are kind of rough around the edges, but the story is all there. Like, it ends satisfyingly. It's just that the last chapter, the drawing's just a little rougher than in the rest of the book. So if you're worried about it not having an ending, like, don't worry about that. Oh, here's Kaiji. This series is like 1,000,000,000,000 volumes long. This is like a JoJo type deal where there's multiple parts of it, and it's been going on forever. But we only got 3 volumes in English for now. This is Denpa. I like Denpa. They bring over good stuff. But yeah, I haven't read these yet. This is one I'm fairly certain I'm gonna like, so I'm kind of waiting for more volumes to stack up before I get into them. Alright, here's Vagabond. I've read this whole series, but I only own the first 3 of these Visbig editions. But I'm gonna get the rest though, because I mean, look at that spine art there. That's pretty beautiful art, you know. And yeah, this series is great. It's a really good one. Samurai stuff. What's not great is that it's been on hiatus for 8 years, I think, and is probably never going to be finished. But it is what it is. It's great. I read this from my library where I read Monster, because they had all the singles of this, and that was fun. It's really good. Go check it out. Planetess. I haven't read this yet. This is one of those ones where if people didn't say it was really good, I would have never picked this up, because the description is it's about space trash collectors and their lives, and that sounds super boring. That does not sound good at all. But everyone's like, yo, it's actually really good. Go read it. So it's only 2 volumes. So I'm taking a gamble on this, and I'm gonna check it out, and I'll probably like it. It's probably really good. Azumanga Daioh. Okay, this is another Pro ZD pick. This was another one of his favorite manga, and I remember when I first watched that video of his when I was brand new to manga. Okay. And I saw he recommended this. I saw this at my library, and I read the first page, and it was just like anime girls hanging out and stuff. I was like, ooh, this is so cringy. I can't deal with this. I want to read the more like adorable, serious mangas. And then fast forward a couple years, as I've steeped myself more into anime and manga, I pick this up again, read the first few pages, and I'm like, oh, this is actually kind of funny. Okay. And so Azumanga Daioh is kind of like, I use it as a benchmark to see how far I've fallen into anime and manga cringe, and how I'm just used to everything now. That's what Azumanga Daioh means to me. I still haven't read it. I'm sorry. Here's Real. As you can see here, I'm missing volumes 2 and 3, which have been out of stock since the beginning of time. As soon as those come back, I'm going to read this because, okay, this is by the dude who did Vagabond, and Vagabond was a banger, so I know this will be great too. I'm just waiting for those volumes. I'm waiting patiently. This is about wheelchair basketball, by the way. It's I'm sure it sounds really cool. Speaking of really cool, here's 20th Century Boys, which... Alright, so when it comes to the question of what my all-time favorite manga is, it's really hard because there's a lot that are really good. But if you put a gun to my head and was like, tell me your favorite manga or I'll shoot you in the face, I'd probably answer 20th Century Boys, because this is just... I don't know, this was just an experience for me. This is probably the most, like, gripped I've ever been by a manga. I was just engrossed by this series here, because this is a great mystery series. It's just super engaging, edge of your seat stuff all the way through. Great cast of characters, great story, goes to places you would never expect it to go. This is just everything I wanted in a manga. But it's also hard to tell people about because the premise does not sound interesting. I put off reading this for so long because I thought the name sounded stupid. It was like 20th Century Boys, what? And it wasn't until I read Monster and I was like, oh, I want to read more of this guy's other stuff, that I read this. And this was phenomenal. Okay. Yeah, so the premise, like I said, this is, unlike Monster, this is not a premise that, like, grips you immediately. Like, I remember I was at the bookstore with one of my friends, and I saw 20th Century Boys, and I was like, ooh, 20th Century Boys, that's my favorite manga. And she was like, oh, what's it about? And I was like, well, it's about some boys, and they play games, and then she tuned me out and started looking at something else. I was like, oh, I understand. Basically, 20th Century Boys, it's about a group of friends who grew up together, and then as they get old, they realize that one of their friends that they used to play games with has started a cult based off of the games that they made up when they were young kids, and they don't know which one of their friends it is, and they don't know why, and they don't know how, and that's what this series is about, them trying to figure that out. So yeah, this is probably the best manga I've ever read, so go check it out. Here's Doro Hey Doro. I've read a good bit of this, but I haven't finished it. This is a unique series. I'm surprised it's as popular as it is, because this is just... I like it. It's like a Nine Inch Nails music video meets The Nightmare Before Christmas, kind of. It's like a lot of just, like, wizards meeting really gritty urban environments, and it's super gory, but it's also, like, kind of positive and optimistic. There's just a lot going on here. This is basically about a man with a lizard head who is trying to figure out why he has a lizard head and who did that to him. And he goes on an adventure through this crazy world that this series takes place in, and it's fun. I will say I read a bit of it and put it on hold for a while and tried to pick up where I left off, and it was I'm gonna have to start this series from the beginning again. So yeah, if you ever read this, read it all the way through, and don't do what I did. Alright, here's Pluto. This is more Naoki Urasawa, and this series is also great. I've read all of this. This is it's like a dark, gritty retelling of Astro Boy, which sounds terrible but is actually really good. It recontextualizes one of the Astro Boy arcs as like a mystery, where there's a guy going around killing famous robots, and the main character here has to solve the mystery of why that's happening. And you don't need to know anything about Astro Boy to read this. I don't know anything about Astro Boy, and I liked this a lot. So it's good. I don't think it's as good as Monster and 20th Century Boys, but I think that's just because it's a lot shorter than them. But this is like in the same tier of quality for sure. It's just all around great series. Oh, here's Death Note. My friend gave me these for free, so I appreciate that. I've seen the anime of this. The anime of this was the first anime I ever watched, like a lot of people probably, but I haven't read the manga yet. Here's Solanin. Don't really know how you say it, but this is a good one. This is about a woman who has just graduated college and doesn't really know what she's doing in life, and I read this when I just graduated college and didn't know what I was doing in life, so I think that's a good time to read this if you're in that age range. Check this out for sure. It's a fun one. All right. Pandora Hearts. I got the box set of this. I'd been eyeing that box set for a bit, but it was out of print, super expensive, and it came back, so I was like, oh, I gotta snatch it up. I haven't read this yet, though, but it gives me big Penguin Drum vibes, which, if you haven't seen Penguin Drum, that's this trippy anime series that I really like. And, yeah, so this seems similar, so I want to check it out. I do not even know what the premise of this is, though. I'm going straight off the vibes. Okay. Alright, here's Memories of Eminon. This is a one-volume manga, and this is probably the best one-volume manga I've ever read. This is basically about a woman who claims that she has lived forever since the dawn of humanity. And her and this man meet one night and just have a conversation, and it's really good. This is one that's all about the vibe. Like, this is one of the vibingest manga ever, and I really like it. There's also a sequel series to it, but I've read that too. And it's not bad or anything. It's good, but it gets canceled really early, so you don't really need to read it. It doesn't really go anywhere. But if you really like this, yeah, check that out too. This is my my thing I have that measures the humidity in the room. It looks like we're barely in the comfort zone right now, so that's nice. But yeah, if you have a lot of manga or books in general, you should probably get something like this so that you can make sure the humidity isn't destroying all your books. All right, here's Goodnight Pun Pun. If you've seen a few of these videos, or any videos on MangaTube in general, then you've heard of this series. Has a reputation for being like the most depressing thing ever, and it is quite depressing. I don't recommend reading this if you don't think you're in a place where you can handle really depressing stuff right now. Yeah, so be aware of that, but I also don't think that that's all it is. Like, this is just a really engrossing coming-of-age story. It's really funny in parts, and I think it is a bit more optimistic than people give it credit for. Like, I don't want you to go into it expecting it to be just, like, overbearingly, soul-crushingly depressing and having nothing else of merit or anything, because it's more than that. It's a really good story. Alright, here's Judge. This is a sequel series to another manga called Doubt. And Doubt I read, and I didn't like that much, because I thought it was just kind of like a generic Saw death game style story. And it was just whatever. But Judge, I've read a good bit of this, and I like it a lot more than Doubt. This one feels like it's coming into its own. It's being its own thing. It's I don't think this one's generic at all. So yeah, Judge is good. Alright, here's the Flowers of Evil. This is the whole series. This is a really great series. It's definitely hard to describe. This is by Shuzo Oshimi, who I think right now is my favorite mangaka. I don't think this is quite my favorite by him. I think Inside Mari is probably my favorite right now. And I don't own that one. I read it on the Crunchyroll app. But this one's second. This one's also really great. And I don't think I can really say what it's about, because this is one where you just got to go into it blind, and you just got to experience it yourself. But I will say that his style with this and a lot of his other stuff is that it's kind of like watching The Office, except instead of things being like uncomfortable and funny, things are just uncomfortable in a depressing, like, sad way. so if that sounds appealing to you, give this a shot. It's a really terrible sales pitch. I'm sorry. This is a really good. I guess this is a psychological thriller. I guess you could call it that, but I don't know. If you go into expecting like psychological thriller, you might be disappointed. Just go into this not expecting anything and just take what comes at you, and I think you'll have the best experience with this series you can. Like, ooh, sorry. Okay, here's Tokyo Ghoul. This was one of the first manga I ever read. I read Dragon Ball Z, then Evangelion, then this. And I feel like this is a great manga to start out with, because it's nothing too crazy or complex, but it's also like really interesting and really good. It's a great cast of characters. It's boy becomes half ghoul and has to make do with this new life as a monster creature thing. That's the premise, and it's just a really solid series. The sequel series, Tokyo Ghoul Re, I don't own that, but I should. It's also really good up until the end, when it becomes not really good. And but yeah, I was reading that like right around the time it was coming out, because I remember I got all of these from the library, but then Tokyo Ghoul Re, like only 3 volumes were out in English, so I had to read the scans online for the rest of that series. So it could be cool to buy the physical volumes and actually read the official translation and stuff. I should do that. All You Need Is Kill. This is adapted from a light novel, and the movie Edge of Tomorrow was based off of this series, which is fun. I love Edge of Tomorrow. It's one of my favorites, so I had to pick this up. I've not read it though. I'm really sorry. I need to. This is only 1 volume. Why haven't I just read this already? What am I doing? Land of the Lustrous. Okay. Now this is a complicated story for me here, because I've tried to get into this series and I really like it, but as you know, if you've read this series in the manga, it's just really hard to understand what's going on, right? So it's basically about all these people who are made out of gems who get attacked by monsters, and all the gem people look really similar except they have different colored hair. But in the manga, since it's black and white, you can't tell what color their hair is. Everybody just looks the same, and it's really hard to follow what's happening. But but it's a really good story though. So I'm reading this and I don't know what's happening, but I'm like, oh, this is good. So it's like I like it a lot, but I feel like the fact that it's not in color really is holding me back from enjoying it to my maximum capacity. I'm sure whenever I finish it and reread it again and I get a better grip on who the characters are, I'll be able to enjoy it the way it was intended to be enjoyed. But yeah, the fact is black and white is really kind of tough, but still great. That's really much my vibe. Dead demons destruction. This just ended, so I should read this. I read this first volume, and yeah, nothing much happened, but I hear that stuff happens eventually, so, and I hear it's really good, so, and I was just kind of waiting for it to end before I started really getting into it, but now that it's over, I should do that. Beastars, I got all of these for $3 also from the used bookstore. I haven't read it though. I haven't read it. I want to though. It looks good. It's funny. Whenever someone owns this series on MangaTube, they always preface it by being like, "Oh, I'm not a furry and I'm not into furry stuff, but Beastars is actually really good." And I'm like, why do people feel the need to do that? Because they don't do that with like Disney movies. Like no one's like, "Oh, I'm not a furry, but Zootopia is really good." Like. It's like you know you can like stuff with animals in it and like not be a furry. Like that's a thing. It's a thing people have been doing since the 70s at least. But yeah, I hear this is good, so I'll have to read it. I got a random volume of Phoenix here. Collecting Phoenix is like collecting the 7 Dragon Balls. Like this series is super hard to find. And there's barely anyone who owns the whole thing. But I feel like everybody has like one random volume of Phoenix. And yeah, I hear it's really great though. I hope it somehow gets reprinted, but I think it would also kind of be fitting if it never got reprinted, because this is kind of is like the holy grail of manga here. Okay, so now we're at my random volumes. Have Biomega, Gundam Thunderbolt, Fire Punch. I've read this whole series because it's on the Viz app. It's really good. It's by the Chainsaw Man guy. It's a crazy revenge story that becomes a not revenge story, and a lot of people say that the ending of this is bad. I thought the ending was the best part. I really liked. I thought the first half of the series is like good, but nothing crazy good. But in the second half, I was really impressed by. So, but I think I'm the only person on Earth who feels that way. So, don't take my word for it. Oh, I got my Hell's Paradise volumes out of order again. Oh well. I should read those. I hear that's good. Here's Solo Leveling. All right. Here's Erased. Alright, so we're entering into my hardcovers now. Now, these aren't really in any order. These are just kind of how I thought they would look the best. So, yeah, here's Erased. Now, Erased, I've read all of this, and it's, like, good-ish. I don't know if I would think it's good enough to own, except for the fact that it kind of has, I don't want to say sentimental value because that's too sappy of a phrase, but it's kind of important to my manga journey. Oh my god, that's sappy too. What am I saying? Anyway, I was in college, and at our college bookstore, they had the volume 1 of Erased and no other manga. And I picked it up. I didn't even know it was a manga. I just thought the cover looked cool, and I was like reading the back. And the description sounded cool, like, a dude's childhood friend is murdered. He has to go back in time and stop the murder. And I was like, oh, this sounds really cool, actually. And so, this was one that I always wanted to read ever since, like, even before I started collecting manga. And So when I did get around to reading, like I liked it. It's nothing like crazy great or anything, but I think I mostly keep it just for the fact that I wanted to get this for so long, because I remember seeing it at the college bookstore, be like, "Oh, Erased sounded so cool. Like I really want to own that. It had that great hardcover. Like, oh man, I wanna snatch that up." So this is more for the memory of when I first saw it than for the actual story. That's why I own it. All right, here we go. Here's Gundam, the Origin, the most beautiful hardcover set and all of manga here. Like, look at that. And I haven't read this yet either. I'm sorry. Oh, but here it is. I've seen the anime that this. I've seen both the animes that this adapts. So, and they're good. So I'm sure this will be good too, because people say this is just a better version of the original Gundam show. So, hey, that's exciting. All right, here's Berserk. Now, Berserk I read very early on in my manga reading journey too. So after I read Tokyo Ghoul, I read Blom, and then I read this. And I think I read this a little too early, because once you read Berserk, you end up comparing everything else you read to Berserk, because this is kind of like the gold standard for manga. At the time I read this was far and away the best manga I'd ever read, aside... Well, no, it was the best manga I read up until I read 20th Century Boys a couple years later. And this is just... Yeah, I'm sure you've heard of this. The series is super, super great in every way. So I won't talk too much. Maybe I'll do another video about how I feel about Berserk. It's really good though. It's probably my second favorite still after 20th Century Boys. But I will say that I don't really agree with how this is like ubiquitously recommended to everybody on MangaTube, because this is not a series for everyone. It's really dark and disturbing and gross in parts, and more so than I think a lot of people can handle. And so I don't know, I don't really like how it's just like given out to everybody as a recommendation, because I really think that this series isn't something that everybody's going to enjoy, and that's okay. But for the people who do enjoy it, you'll enjoy it a lot. It's really good. Alright, here's Hellsing. This is a lot of fun. Like, this is one that is really popular, but a lot of people don't really hype up anymore. Like, it's... You get what I'm saying. Like, it's a popular series, but whenever I see someone like do a video on it, they're always like disappointed. Like nobody's really singing the praises of Hellsing anymore. So when I read it, I was really surprised by just how fun it was. I will say I was a little let down, because the final fight in the series takes up the last over the last half of this. The last half of the series is just the last fight, and I was like, I wish we'd build up to this a bit more, but okay. But this is just a lot of crazy, violent fun, and if you go into expecting that, I think you'll like. If you go into expecting like the most complex storytelling of all time, you'll be disappointed. But if you go into expecting like Die Hard with vampires, you'll like this a lot. Nausicaa, I haven't read this yet, but dang, that box set looks real nice. Abara, I think. Oh, this is Tsutomu Nihei. He's my favorite manga artist. I'm trying to get everything he ever did, and this is a good one. This is it's really short. You can read this at like one sitting. It's just, this is like This is indescribable. This is just a crazy, crazy book, but I got it for that great Tsutomu Nihei sci-fi dark art style. And if you like that kind of stuff, you'll like this. I got this random Yu-Gi-Oh hardcover here. I just found this for really cheap at a used bookstore, and I was like, yeah, I'll check it out. Why not? Alright, Fist of the North Star. I've read this one volume. This is just goofy fun. I feel like shirtless dudes destroying people with fists and logic. This is the series for you. Uzumaki, I think I would have enjoyed this more if I'd gone into it like expecting it to be like a bunch of loosely connected short stories, kind of, because that's kind of what it is. And I went into it expecting the story to kind of be a big thing all the way through, and it's really not. It's just kind of at the beginning and the end. So go into it with that expectation, and I think you'll like it. The art is disturbing in this. Yikes! But I think that's the point for sure. So if you want to get creeped out, this is a good one. I also got Venus in the Blind Spot and Remina by Junji Ito. And Venus in the Blind Spot I have because it has the Amigara Fault short story in it, which is like the best thing Junji Ito that I've read so far. So I wanted to own that one short story, and I'm glad I did. Full Metal Alchemist. This series is actually one of my favorites. I know everyone has this as a favorite, and before I read it, I was skeptical. I was like, I don't know. It seems kind of like a basic shonen thing to me, but it's really good. I mean, it is a basic shonen thing, but it's just like the perfect one. It knows when to end. It's just twisty and turny all the way through. The characters are great. The villains are quite nice in this. I like them a lot, and I think, am I gonna say it? Okay, I'm guessing. I think this has the best ending in all of manga. I was trying to think of a better one, and I can't. I think this has the best ending for sure. So definitely, if you haven't read this yet, check it out, because it's a classic for a reason. Soul Eater, I read this one volume and didn't really care for it. It was I like the art style, but the story, I don't know. This is one of the times I read manga and I was like, maybe I'm too old for this. I don't think I'm quite the target audience of this series. The art style is really good though. The story was kind of dumb. Vinland Saga. Here's a story that's not dumb though, because this was pretty cool from what I read. I've only read this first volume. I'm not gonna lie, the first half of this first volume was kind of boring. It was just like Leif Erikson sitting around talking about Canada or whatever for half a volume. But that second half was real good though. I'm really excited to read more of this, as you can tell. I'm just waiting for more chapters to come out so that by the time I get around to this, I won't have to wait as long. But yeah, this is a classic for sure, so I'm excited. I've been wanting to read this for years. Like, I'm amazed that I have such self-restraint to hold off reading it like this, but I should probably just read it. Message to Adolf. This is the quintessential series that everybody owns but nobody has read, and I haven't read this either. I can't break the trend, but I hear it's good though. Ping Pong. I thought these were hardcovers, and they're not. These are soft covers. But I put them up here anyway because they're like plasticky soft covers. This is Taiyu Matsumoto. I don't know if I like him or not. Well, I haven't read anything by him. But on one hand, he seems like someone I could really like. On the other hand, he seems like someone I could really not like. His storytelling and art. I mean, I'm sure he's really nice as a person, but but this is kind of like his big manga. So I figured I'd check this one out and see how I feel about it. All right, Blom. This is one of the first manga I ever read, and it's really good. It's very vague, atmospheric. You kind of got to figure everything out for yourself, but the art style is incredible. It is so good. This is just a vibe of a series. Like, read this, put on some like good music, and just like vibe out with some Blom. You know, that's what you gotta do. Knights of Sidonia, I also gotta read. Oh, Right Stuff shipped these to me, and they like, oh, look at this damage up here though. They really busted up my books in those boxes, but it is what it is. It's okay. Yeah, Knights of Sidonia. I hear this is really good too. I hear this one's a lot less vague, which could be good or could be bad, but I'll read that soon. Oh, here's Attack on Titan. You might have heard of this one. I've read this whole series. It's good. It's a really good series. Probably still in my top 10. Oh, do I have to talk about the ending? Is that like the thing I gotta bring up whenever I bring up Attack on Titan? I thought the ending wasn't very good, but it didn't ruin the series or anything. Like, that's all I'll say about that. It's still a very good series. I think the stuff towards the end, outside of the ending, is the best part of the series. So it's a lot of fun. This is one of the few ones where I think I'd recommend watching the anime over reading the manga, because the art is a little jank at the beginning, and there's some weird pacing stuff that I think is smoothed out a bit better in the anime, so I'd recommend that. Here I got some light novels. I have not read any light novels, so, but I heard these. I'll read them at some point. Here's Boogie Pop. This is, whenever I do read these light novels, I'm gonna read Boogie Pop first, because I've heard good things about this. This is like fun ghost stuff, I think. There's an anime, Boogie Pop Phantom, that I want to watch too. Haruhi Suzumiya, the light novels. This is one of my favorite anime ever, so I had to pick up all the light novels for it, because the light novels go on farther than the anime does, so, you know, I want to get that, post-anime content. Yeah, I'll read those, for sure. Nah, I don't know if I'm ever going to read these Durarararas. These are just some random volumes I picked up at a used bookstore for like $3. Here's All You Need Is Kill, the light novel, and some Monogatari. I've seen the anime of this. I just found these really cheap and picked them up. Here's another. I'm interested in this, The Empty Box and Zeroth Maria. This one sounds interesting. I don't really remember what it was about, but it's kind of like a sci-fi-ish sounding thing. Classroom of the Elite, people really like this one. I got some random Bacanos, and the anime of this was really good, so maybe I'll pick up more of these. Alright, here's some random manga volumes. Alice in Borderland. I read this first volume when it came out, and it was so good that I just immediately went online and read the rest of the series. And yeah, this is one of my favorite manga of all time, for sure. This is a death game, battle royale kind of manga done right. I'm a big fan of those kind of series, and this is the best one I've ever read, for sure. The ending is actually good. Because series like this often have a disappointing ending, but yeah, this series is awesome. I'll definitely keep buying these as they come out, because right now only this first volume is out in English. but I highly recommend you pick this up. This is just one of the most edge of your seat manga I've ever read. Here's another random Dead Demons. Oh, here's Watamote. I hear this is really cringy, so I had to pick it up for that because I'm a big fan of cringe. Oh, here's all my PS4 games. I got them over here for some reason. Alright, here's some more Hunter x Hunter volumes that I picked up recently and haven't put the rest of them yet. I also have Pez. Amazon really busted up my Pez volume when they shipped that to me, but that's okay. This is a Denpa thing. I was not expecting it to be that skinny. It's like $20. Like $20 for this skinny little thing, but it looks interesting. It's a one shot. It's like, it kind of has like a Made in Abyss vibe to it. Here's Akira. I got that Akira box set like everyone else did. Akira is definitely I haven't finished it. I started reading it, and I saw the movie years ago before I was ever into manga. And I like the movie, and from what I've read of the manga's even better, so I don't know why I haven't finished this. What am I doing? Ghost in the Shell. I've read part of Ghost in the Shell before I even bought this, and I didn't like it that much. I'm not entirely convinced that I ever will like it, but this box set just looked really nice, and it kind of is like a classic manga, so I figured I'd buy it and give it a shot. I don't know what I was thinking when I buy this, but maybe I'll like it this time. I don't know. Battle Angel Alita, the box set here. I bought this years ago. Still haven't read it, but I should. Honestly, I like that these are hardcovers, but I've seen the way that the like original Viz volumes look, and I think they look cooler than these. If those ever got reprinted, I'd pick them up, but this is a really good series. I should read it. Then I have some Clamp stuff. I have Magic Knight, Ray Earth, Clover, and the first volume of Chobits. I haven't read any of these, but I haven't read any Clamp, but I should. See, with these hardcover ones, I feel less bad about buying stuff I haven't read yet, because at least, if I don't like these, at least they look cool, they look really nice on the shelf, but yeah, I should. I've been wanting to get into Clamp for a while, though. And then these last ones, I got some random volumes. Here's an Invitation from a Crab. I just got this a couple days ago, so I haven't read it yet, but I hear this is weird. Here it's weird. And then I got the At the Mountains of Madness manga version. I've read the book of this. I really like H.P. Lovecraft's ideas, but I don't like his writing. I think he's kind of a boring writer, but a great idea maker, and so I was excited to check this out because this is someone else's interpretation of H.P. Lovecraft's ideas, and that I feel could be really great, so that's what it is. Alright, so that is my manga collection. That is everything I own. If you made it to the end of this video, I will give you a Medal of Honor, because you deserve it. I don't know how you made it through this. That's crazy. But thanks for watching. Have a good day. Drive on the right side of the road, and always look both ways before crossing the street. Bye-bye.